Think you know Japan? Sure, it's famous for its rich traditions, cutting-edge tech, and mind-blowing food, but behind the scenes, there are laws that'll make you do a double take. From everyday habits to seemingly harmless choices, there are some things you'd never guess are downright illegal here. For instance, public trash cans are almost nowhere to be found, and there's even a list of baby names you can't legally give your child. Curious? Let's dive into 10 surprising things that are totally illegal in Japan, but might not be where you're from. These are 10 unusual things that you thought would be legal, but are actually very illegal in Japan. Starting off with number 10. If you've ever been to Japan, you've probably noticed something remarkable. Just how clean the streets are. Even if you've only seen it in pictures or videos, the tidiness of public spaces here almost feels magical. But what really puzzles first-time visitors is this: where are all the trash cans? For many newcomers, this is a surprising and sometimes frustrating discovery. You might wander around holding a candy wrapper or an empty coffee cup for what feels like forever. But here's the thing: this is no accident, and there's an intriguing story behind it. The scarcity of public trash cans in Japan can be traced back to a tragic event in 1995. On a quiet March morning, a cult group, Aum Shinrikyo, carried out a horrifying sarin gas attack in Tokyo's subway system. This deadly chemical, which is invisible and odorless, caused immense devastation, taking 14 lives and injuring over 1,000 people. In response, the Japanese government took swift measures to enhance public safety, including removing trash cans from public spaces to prevent such incidents from happening again. Japan's cultural values play a huge role here too. People here take personal responsibility for their trash, often carrying it home. It's a practice rooted in respect for public spaces and a desire to maintain harmony, a concept central to Japanese life. Number 9. Imagine naming your child something unique and meaningful, only to be told, sorry, that name isn't allowed. In Japan, naming your child comes with a surprising rulebook. The government has approved lists of characters for names, ensuring they're appropriate and culturally harmonious. There are 2 key lists you need to know: Kokusei kanji, Chinese characters commonly used in Japanese everyday life, and Jinmei-hyo kanji, an additional list specifically for names. Together, they set the boundaries for what kanji parents can choose for their children's names. Why? Well, because some kanji might have offensive meanings, be too difficult to read, or even carry negative historical or cultural connotations. For instance, the kanji for akuma, meaning devil, oni, demon, shi, or death, or curse-related kanji, was once proposed as a baby's name, but quickly banned for being harmful and offensive. And it's not just extreme examples. Kanji that suggest violence, bad luck, or even overly complicated characters that might confuse others are also restricted. Today, there are 845 characters that are not allowed to be used. This system ensures that names align with Japanese values of harmony and clarity. It might seem strict, but it's all about maintaining balance in a culture where names carry deep significance. What a strong contrast to Taiwan, for example, where people were legally changing their names to salmon to get a discount in a restaurant promotion. Number 8. In Japan, you can spot something that might seem unusual: designated outdoor and indoor smoking areas, even in bustling places like Tokyo. While smoking indoors has been largely banned in many public spaces, stepping outside doesn't mean you can light up whenever you want. In cities like Tokyo, outdoor smoking is tightly controlled. You'll find marked smoking zones, often tucked away on sidewalks or in small enclosures. These spots are clearly labeled and equipped with ashtrays to keep the surroundings clean. The catch? Smoking outside these zones is a big no-no, and there are hefty fines for those who break the rules. However, Japan's smoking culture still has some notable exceptions. Many restaurants and bars are grandfathered in to allow smoking indoors, provided they meet certain criteria. This creates a unique dining and drinking experience for those who do smoke, but it also means that non-smokers may need to choose their venues carefully. Office buildings, on the other hand, often feature dedicated smoking lounges, providing a space for smokers to take breaks without stepping outside. While these facilities are convenient for smokers, one unintended consequence is the prevalence of chain smoking. With easy access to smoking areas, smokers often find themselves lighting up more frequently, potentially reinforcing the habit. These restrictions reflect Japan's strong emphasis on public safety and courtesy. They ensure that non-smokers and children aren't exposed to secondhand smoke, and that streets remain clean and safe for everyone. Next up, number 7. Another surprising fact is that Japan, despite being one of the world's most advanced nations, technically doesn't have a traditional army. Maintaining one would be illegal in the international court. After World War II, Japan adopted a pacifist constitution, and Article 9 explicitly forbids the country from maintaining a military or waging war. But that doesn't mean it has left itself entirely defenseless. They have the Self-Defense Forces, or SDF, a specialized force that is designed strictly for defensive purposes, ensuring Japan can respond to threats without violating its constitutional principles. As of 2023, the Japan Self-Defense Forces, or JSDF, have an authorized strength of approximately 247,150. However, actual staffing levels have been consistently below this target. For example, at the end of 2021, the JSDF had about 230,754 personnel, achieving a fulfillment rate of 93.3%. Rather than projecting power abroad, the SDF focuses on protecting Japan's borders and providing disaster relief during emergencies. Number 6. Another thing that might shock you about Japanese laws is the medication regulations. Japan has strict regulations on medications, and certain common remedies could land you in hot water. For example, cold and flu medications containing codeine, like Tylenol with codeine or Nurofen Plus, are straight up banned. These ingredients are classified as controlled substances under Japanese law, even if they're available over the counter in other countries. The laws aren't just about codeine either. Pseudoephedrine, a common ingredient in decongestants, is also restricted in larger quantities. Bringing in medications without checking could lead to fines or even confiscation at customs. To avoid headaches, literally and figuratively, make sure to research Japan's medication regulations before you travel. The safest option? Stick to medications you can buy locally in Japan, or consult with your doctor about alternatives. Number 5. Another law that will seem outlandish is that homebrewing alcohol with more than 1% alcohol by volume is illegal. That's right, whether it's beer, infused spirits, homemade sangria, brewing or mixing your own alcoholic creations over this limit is strictly prohibited. This law dates back to Japan's taxation system, where alcohol production is tightly controlled to ensure proper tax collection. Even for personal use, exceeding the 1% ABV limit without a license can lead to significant fines or legal trouble. There are exceptions, though. Popular drinks like umeshu, made by infusing plums into store-bought shochu or vodka, are allowed because they use already taxed high-proof alcohol. This means you can still enjoy some DIY creativity as long as you follow the rules. Have you ever tried making your own alcohol at home? I certainly have. Have you ever tasted umeshu either? Let us know in the comments below, and maybe share your favorite recipe along the way. Number 4. When out with friends or colleagues, have you ever been pressured to have just one more drink? There are laws that deal with events or parties, and one specific law is about this. The after-work drinking party, or nomikai, has long been a tradition. It's a chance for colleagues to bond outside the office over food and drinks. In the past, many employees felt pressured to drink excessively, even if they didn't want to. That's where a key piece of legislation comes into play: the Act on Comprehensive Promotion of Labor Policies. This law, aimed at addressing workplace harassment, explicitly bans practices that create undue pressure on employees, including pressuring someone to drink at a work-related event. Employers are now held accountable for ensuring a harassment-free environment, and that includes after-work gatherings. Of course, while nomikai are still popular, the rules have changed. Employees now have the right to decline a drink without fear of judgment or retaliation, making these gatherings more inclusive and respectful. Number 3. Let me ask you this. Are you the type of person that would hit the dance floor after a few drinks? Well, imagine this. You're at a cozy nightclub in Tokyo. The music's great, but then you're told no dancing allowed. Why is this? Well, because in Japan, dancing in smaller nightclubs, those under 710 square feet, actually requires a special license. This law dates back to Japan's post-war era, when dance halls were heavily regulated. While larger clubs can get permits more easily, smaller venues have to meet strict standards, which makes it tough for them to legally allow dancing. In these spaces, dancing could technically result in fines or even the club shutting down. While it might seem unusual, these regulations reflect Japan's careful approach to nightlife. Smaller clubs tend to focus more on creating an intimate atmosphere, where people gather to enjoy music rather than dance. Number 2. In many places, riding a bike after a drink or two might seem harmless, but in Japan, it's a serious offense. Japan's zero-tolerance drinking policy doesn't just apply to cars. Drunk cycling is strictly prohibited, with fines of up to 1 million yen, or even up to 5 years in prison. Drunk cycling poses a danger to everyone on the road. In densely populated areas where bikes share space with pedestrians and cars, one mistake can lead to serious accidents. Japan's legal blood alcohol concentration, or BAC limit, is just 0.03%. That's right, even one drink can put you over the limit. And if you're caught, you're looking at fines, jail time, or even losing your license. In the United States, the limit is 0.08%. That's more than double Japan's. And while penalties vary by state, there's still some wiggle room for a drink or two before cycling on the road. And it's not just alcohol-related laws. Japan has strict rules for all cyclists, including bans on using phones, holding umbrellas, and tandem riding. Breaking these rules can also result in fines or penalties. These laws reflect Japan's commitment to safety and order, even for something as simple as riding a bicycle. It's all about ensuring everyone, pedestrians, drivers, and cyclists, can coexist peacefully. And finally, number 1. Another unspoken rule, though not exactly a law, you might not expect is the concept of smell harassment, or sumehara, which highlights how strong scents can be seen as intrusive in close public spaces. Whether it's strong perfume, cologne, or even heavy food smells, Japan's cultural emphasis on subtlety and harmony extends to scent. In confined spaces like trains or offices, overpowering fragrances are discouraged out of respect for others. Some companies even warn employees about this, encouraging them to maintain a neutral or minimal scent profile. It's all part of creating a comfortable and considerate environment for everyone. So, next time you're in Japan, remember to keep it light, not just for your own comfort, but to respect the scent-free spaces that are deeply valued here. Japan is a land of beauty, tradition, and innovation, but also one of unique rules that reflect its deep cultural values. From the way trash is handled to the ban on homebrewing and even the consideration of scent in public spaces, these laws and customs may seem unusual at first, but they all have one thing in common: respect. Respect for the environment, respect for personal space, and respect for the harmony of society. While some of these rules might be surprising to outsiders of what makes Japan so unique and inspiring, understanding and following them isn't just about avoiding fines or penalties. It's about appreciating and embracing the culture that upholds them. Which of these rules surprised you the most? Or are there any similar customs in your country? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more insights into the fascinating cultures around the world. Thanks for watching.